I think education and awareness, like this is not a much talked about part of transformation process that most people go through. Changing your body, I mean, everything requires a level of change and a level of discomfort that comes with it. But we don't talk enough about how your body can look different, how your body can regenerate itself, how you can change old habits, how you can change the thoughts that play out.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets podcast. I'm your host Rexhen, and today's guest is Shakti Sharma, a dynamic women's leadership coach, speaker, and author who is redefining what power looks like in leadership. Shakti supports women leaders in becoming feminine powerhouses, fully seen, boldly expressed, deeply respected for their wisdom, and magnetically attracting success on their terms. Her work empowers high-achieving women not by pushing harder, but by aligning their feminine wisdom, intuitive intelligence, and spiritual depth. As the founder of Spiritual Alignment, Shakti leads in-person forest retreats and online leadership programs that blend neuroscience-backed techniques with energetic mastery and peak performance tools. And it's a pleasure for me to have her on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Shakti.
Thank you, Regen. Thank you. It's an honor to be here and to dive into all that is about to come up today in this conversation.
It's a pleasure for us to have you on. So thank you so much for coming, Shakti. I wanted to ask you, when it comes to your beginnings and you starting your coaching business, first of all, what inspired you to do that, to become a coach and then do it as business?
So it was never part of the plan. I was deep in the corporate career. I had done investment banking, management consulting. I worked in the banking sector, doing marketing work, and I was happy. I was, really content. Sometimes when you are in the system, sometimes you don't know what else is possible. And that was my story too. But then there's a whole time came when I started to really recognize how I was different and how I started appreciating different things in life. And for example, being authentic and standing up in my truth was so important than trying to fit in and doing what everybody else was doing. And I started to recognize that the world is very much created for men to be successful, and how for women we had to just work in a whole different way to fit into that system. And that was like a really wake up call for me. And this is the time, obviously, I was going through my own life changes. I was pregnant. I had finished my MBA from Chicago Booth. I was pregnant. I had gotten the management consulting job at Accenture back then. And these questions were starting to come. Well, am I happy now? Am I fulfilled now? Am I content now? And the answer was no. There's a void that I felt in my heart that had no name at that point. I couldn't explain what I was feeling, and I was moving through life in a very transactional way, moving through relationships, jobs in a very transactional way. And there was not much space to think about what is my purpose, or space to think about what kind of legacy am I creating, or the space to think about, am I doing the things that really make me feel fulfilled? This is the moment when it all started and the inspiration came through. I didn't right away begin a coaching career. I started with in the wellness industry. I established 2 yoga studios in the Bay Area, California. And that's where my journey started. So I did a lot of healing work. I was I am an intuitive, so I have access to feminine intuition, and bringing all those gifts together, I started creating a community in Bay Area, California, and that is how my journey started.
Cool. And so when it comes to your coaching business, when it comes to spiritual alignment, it's been about 9 years, right?
Yeah.
So throughout these years of you working with your clients, and going through the coaching journey with them, what about it would you say you find the most rewarding since you started doing it?
Yeah, it's just one thing, and this one thing is so profound and doesn't matter who is sitting in front of me, doesn't matter what the setup is like. Is it a program? Is it a one-on-one call? Is it a group? Is it a simple phone conversation? It doesn't really matter what the format is, but there, I'm addicted to this one thing, and that is when I hear someone talk, when I hear talk to clients, and when I hear all that stuff is not working out or falling apart and not going how they expected, and they feel a bit shakiness and like, what am I doing wrong? The biggest question that people ask, what am I missing? What am I doing wrong? Why is this not working? And then to bring and tap into the field, help them kind of see the bigger picture of why the things are happening the way they are, and how it's still all happening for you and not against you, and how there's deeper layers and deeper versions of power available for them to access in this situation to help them get bigger than the problems, get bigger and in their more power than, and knowing that they hold the control in flowing with life is one of the biggest, most profound, most rewarding part of my work ever. It's like seeing people like rise up, like, yeah, it makes sense. There's a perspective I was missing, and this is why it's happening. It makes sense. And here's how I get bigger in my own power.
And just for me to understand better, when it comes to these clients, do they fit a certain profile? Like, is there a certain demographic, certain industry, certain ideal client profile that you typically find yourself working with? How would you describe that?
I work with women who are hungry for seeing the bigger part of themselves, the leader in themselves. And that also, kind of goes into two. I mean, I have worked for the longest time with women in corporate, women who wanting to, like, I'm there wherever the leadership goes. So women wanting to lead relationships. My work meets them. And lately, for the last couple years, I've started working with women coaches and mind body professionals and helping them find success in their business, and really starting to, my work really goes deeper than just coaching. I also combine all these ways of reprogramming your subconscious mind so that you have a way easier time accessing and integrating your power. You start to rewire your brain, your body, your subconscious to hold more, to really expand your capacity than the baseline you have started your life with.
I'm always fascinated by coaches who are working in this area. So working in either like unlocking that power on the subconscious mind, or just like understanding it and knowing how to rewire your brain. When it comes to the subconscious mind, how would someone if it where do people mostly find the challenge in actually connecting or understanding how they can rewire that subconscious part of their mind?
How?
Where is the challenge typically that people find in trying to understand how that works?
I think education and awareness, like, this is not a much talked about part of transformation process that most people go through. Changing your body, I mean, everything requires a level of change and a level of discomfort that comes with it. But we don't talk enough about how your body can look different, how your body can regenerate itself, how you can change old habits, how you can change the thoughts that play out in your mind, how you can change the emotions you're experiencing, how you can change the relationships, the closest relationships to you, how can you change how you react to somebody. And this is all available for us. And one of the ways, and I know, like, First of all, we don't talk about this enough. A whole lack of awareness in the world around this deeper level of change. But then there's also like, how do I go about it? Like, what do I do? Where do I begin? And one of the ways that I stand behind and that has changed my life completely is learning to access your intuition, learning to know how, why, what is the energy underneath everything you're experiencing in your reality. You start talking to the energy, you start hearing the energy, you start seeing the energy, you start understanding, this is why I met this person today. Here's the deeper reason, not what just showed up on the surface, but here is the deeper reason that needed to be honored today. And as you know, the whole world is made of energy, and we only see like 1% of all that there is. And we may not need to know everything about everything, but what do we need to absolutely know more about is our body, our mind, our emotions. This is the makeup of us that we need to start taking. I won't say control in the way of like really forceful control. You start owning yourself more. And we can't do that until we actually know who are we? Why are we doing certain things? Why are we having certain thoughts? Do we like it? Can we change it? Yes, it all can be changed by just you knowing what is it that you are experiencing now and what is it that you want to experience. And you start using this information, all this understanding of energy, understanding of your thoughts and your emotions, you start changing the delta between the two. You start moving in the direction where you want to go and where you feel most empowered to go.
And so this is such an interesting topic. And so when it comes to starting to have that control, let's say like not really control, but like being able to control kind of like yourself in a way better. In doing so, you would say initially the start is being aware, right? You start with awareness. And then from awareness, because you need to understand the why and the purpose, right? And then from awareness, what would be the next step, you would say?
Again, like what worked for me the most and what my clients have found success most with is starting to talk to your subconscious mind through a language called your intuition. And there's a lot of information that's sitting in the subconscious mind that is calling the shots of your life. And you start to decipher and decode and understand what is it, then you start to make more informed decision with your awareness. So what does intuition look like? It looks like closing your eyes, bringing your body in a very rested space, using your breath in a very controlled way to go in a deeper state of rest. And you start accessing a dreamlike state. And you start asking your subconscious mind, your intuition, to show you colors and images to communicate back to you what is happening in my business, why is it going slow, and it will start giving you the information you need to make decisions on.
And is this something that anyone can easily do, or it just takes practice?
My favorite part is when people I have led intuitive awakening is one of my programs. I have led that in the past, and clients would come in, well, Shakti, what's the success rate of your program? Like, do you think I can do this? And everybody gets like all these nerves and like before, actually doing the journey. And I tell them like, yes, you're born intuitive. When you were born, as a baby, this is how you communicated with the world around you all the time. Before a formal language was introduced to you, this is how babies communicate. This is how all the information takes place. And if you have ever seen a baby, they would smile for no reason. Why are they smiling? Well, there's something energetically they're tapping into that we adults don't see or understand. But you will see a baby doesn't make an eye contact, and they'll see something all around you. They're looking at your whole energy field, and then they're interacting with you without an eye contact. So there's intuitive, energetic communication taking place all the time. This is how animals talk. all the time. They're picking up clues based on what's happening energetically in our whole entire energy field, and they're responding to us in that way. So yes, anything can be intuitive with my clients. And this is my own personal experience of how much time it takes. Within about 3 months, people start to receive and decipher and like decode the information, and they start moving energy, and they start bringing their body into where they want to go. What is their truth in the moment?
But where I see or what I'm trying to understand is, how would, let's say you're just relaxing, you're thinking about it, you're trying to do what you just said, trying to communicate with the subconscious through the language of intuition. Now, how would you know if what you're getting back is from your subconscious versus from your conscious?
This is why we go in that deep rested space. We like learn to turn off that active mind, that active thought, and we go deeper than that. Like when you dream, do you have ever have that question, what if this is my conscious mind? No, because you're just drifted in a deeper rested space within yourself. You just start to it is a process. It's not like one time you do it and you will like develop trust. There's a whole process to walk through, tools to learn, concept frameworks to follow to start to develop the trust. And we practice so much more so that people start to develop that trust and start to differentiate, oh, this is what my thought is, and this is the voice of my intuition. And that's a clear distinction, clear discernment there.
Cool. So this is all, for me, is kind of complicated. So if we were to leave our audience with some type of tool, what kind of tool can we leave them with for them to get one step closer to their subconscious?
Wow. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So this is my favorite tool because I didn't come to this journey because it was so sexy and appealing. My journey started because I was miserable. I was, not happy where I was in my corporate career. And I think the way it started for me was starting to understand what's beyond this, the situation I'm seeing, what's beyond, what's more that's untapped and unknown for me. One of the tools that was very helpful when I started my journey was anytime situation came up that made me unhappy, I started asking, because this is how the first time my intuition spoke to me. It really felt like I would have a question, and then there's a part of me, that's bigger part of me, would have an answer. And I felt like I'm a child and I'm speaking to this like mother inside me who is me. It's just wild how it all kind of came together. She just had everything she said made sense and all my questions were answered. So if you go into any situation where what you were expecting, you're not getting that, or you have a level of connection or discontentment about how reality is playing out, what's happening, you can start asking yourself, first of all, take a few deep breaths, reset the energy, let it all go, and slowly, slowly make your breaths more fuller and let it go. Let it go, the energy, knowing that a change can happen now. Just by you breathing is enough. Just by you taking these conscious breaths is enough fuel for you to create a change. And then asking yourself if there is a God, Mother, Universe inside you, right? What would they say why things are happening the way they are happening? Why could this exact situation that you hate the most right now is happening for you? Why is it fueling your greatest expansion, your greatest growth right now? And slowly, slowly, you're going to start tapping into your own answers around it.
Interesting. Yeah, as you were explaining that, I was thinking, okay, let's see. So we do this. The challenge that I always will feel like in doing that exercise is being able to turn off the active brain. That seems like so hard to me.
Turn off the active. You said a word.
Turn off the conscious mind, the active brain.
That's why I suggested to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I invited you to breathe more deeply.
Mm-hmm.
You start letting go. You start using your sounds. You start deepening and deepening with each breath. And then you start opening something inside you.
I might need to practice that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Shakti. So I wanted to ask you when it comes to when this goes back to my research, when it comes to you finding your clients, is there a certain marketing channel that is working very well for you?
Yeah. So I love Meta and I love Facebook. I have had Facebook since it came out. It was 2005. So I have had a very old Facebook account. I love the part that I get to connect with people as a person and not just like some random username. And I have Facebook community. So this is how I get to find my clients.
Okay, so you've built a community yourself on Facebook.
Yeah.
And just for me to understand, what was the strategy of bringing people in the community?
So this community is for coaches, women coaches, and it's called Feminine Wealth Collective.
Mm-hmm.
The strategy was to create a very connected experience, an engaging experience. I wouldn't even call it strategy, but I was literally like, okay, this year I had a goal of being more visible, and I did a 90-day live challenge. So I was going live every day. I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to people and I love doing that. So it wasn't really a strategy to get people, but it was a desire to really bring people together and then starting to, you know, offer free trainings, resources, support. That's what we do in our group.
Cool, great. Thanks for sharing that. And so, what is the goal that you're looking right now? So, for the next 1 to 3 years, looking to the future for the coaching business, do you have any specific goals you're working towards?
Yeah, right now I'm in the growth stage.
Mm-hmm.
So just being out there more, offer more work for people to experience. And that includes like events, master classes, trainings, kick off couple programs that I have lined up for this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's, yeah, big part is growth for this year.
And growth, you mean in terms of like how many you can coach, or how are you thinking about it?
Yeah, like growth and I think I'm pretty settled with the programs I have. It's really, getting that whole system going
Mhm.
so that I can work with more people.
Cool. And do you have right now, do you have some kind of like a team that helps you out?
Yeah, so I have my business partner, but he's leading his own brand. It's not that
Mhm.
we're the team for the same company. And I do work with some external members, not part of Spiritual Alignment, but they're part of different companies and I get to consult with them.
Cool. And so right now, for anyone's listening, when it comes to them working with you, you mentioned is mostly one-to-one coaching, or is there also group coaching?
There's group coaching called Feminine Wealth Accelerator, and this is for women who are coaches, who are leading their businesses to find their center again, to lead from their excitement, and
Mhm.
to really live a life where they can not just feel fulfilled, but they can make money. Like, I think women had to sacrifice a lot of themselves in the pursuit of having a career. I feel like this is a time we put an end to that and we start to really own how different we are in the world and start to lead from that place.
Totally understand that. And by the way, that is a very, very interesting background. What is that?
This is a mandala.
It's a mandala.
Yeah.
What is a mandala?
Mandala is this arrangement of different geometrical patterns.
Mhm.
It is, yeah.
Looks like a flower when you at it.
Yeah, it has. Have you ever done yoga before?
No, I guess that's why I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Okay, so I might be the only one. Maybe the audience already knows what it is.
Yeah, so this is Om, and this is the sound of the universe. When you
Mhm.
hear nothing but the sound of the universe, it sounds like
Mhm.
and there's like ohms written all over in this flower, and
Mhm.
this flower is basically circles, and
Mhm.
then these circles are overlapping each other. I think this is how, if you look at the energetic, like what energy looks like,
Hmm.
at different frequency, it starts creating these patterns, especially if you look at the sounds,
Hmm.
and it starts creating these patterns graphically. So this is where this whole concept came from.
Oh yeah, I've seen those videos where they see how sound actually can create
Yeah,
patterns
exactly.
visually. Interesting. So when thinking about the goal of like you further growing the coaching, either having more clients, and are you thinking also like expanding as a team?
Not right now,
Hmm.
but yeah, at some point I will.
So where do you see the challenge in doing so? Like what is the bottleneck, the main bottleneck for you right now?
I think for me, the biggest piece is clarity, because my business has gone through pivots. During the pandemic, my business got shut down. I had two yoga studios in the Bay Area, and we went through the longest shutdown in the whole country. And I made a decision to kind of leave the studios, and then I moved to a retreat center. I own this retreat center. It's 320 acres. But to
Hmm.
be like so clear on what spiritual alignment is based on all that we have done, and moving forward with the clarity of what this brand is,
Hmm.
I think that is the biggest piece. Like, how can I integrate it all together, so that this brand just feels so authentic to what it's meant to do, how it's meant to serve. Like, the brands are living, breathing
Hmm.
energy. It's living, breathing consciousness in how I see it. It's
Hmm.
not just a name. It's not just a logo and a color. It is holding within itself a very unique way of serving the world. So how do I keep honoring that and not muddy it up from my own mind in the pursuit of, making profit?
And from my conscious mind to understand that, are you talking about like how can you better position your company? So talking about positioning and
Yeah, I'm talking about the brand positioning. Absolutely.
cool, great. And that's all good. So over time, and you mentioned also like this retreat center, is what have been some investments you've made in your business in yourself that you feel like those are very, very good investments? And have there been any investments that you don't feel so good about that you feel like you could have avoided?
No, no, I make my decisions based on my intuition.
Hmm.
And I don't really go after things in the pursuit of chasing the next shiny thing, because
Hmm.
there's nothing else externally that can change the state of my business or anything else. I can get support, yes, but the change has to be brought forward by me. So I take a lot of responsibility for my results and for where I am in life and business. I don't put that kind of blame and responsibility on other people, because that's a big power leak right there. So I have had, do you want me to share the names here, or?
Be happy to.
Okay, yeah, I did not know what the guidelines are. Okay, so I worked with Sage Levine. She was my first business coach at Women Rocking Business, and I absolutely loved working with her. She helped me a lot, especially I learned a lot of tools of doing like one to many presentations and creating kind of master classes,
Hmm.
multi-day master classes with her. So that was my biggest learning, working with her and her team. I also work with Melanie Ann Lair at Alpha Femme. I'm currently in the Alpha Femme Experience program, and she is so gifted in not only leading from a place of power, that definitely, is the biggest thing when it comes to creating a very strong online brand,
Hmm.
being profitable. But she also weaves in her intuition so well. So I get to learn a lot about that from her,
Hmm.
to how to balance both worlds and how to bring them together, the intuition, the spirituality, and your business. Those have been my biggest investments so far. I have worked with one-off coaches too,
Hmm.
and I've I've really enjoyed the process. I've always learned a lot. Even if the learning is like, okay, this is not the path, is a learning for me. So
Hmm.
I'm happy with all the investments I've made.
That's awesome, and glad you always look at it with a positivity of mind, and you go about the investments just like you go about coaching. You go all of it with intuition. For One thing about your intuition right now, and this question is going to be interesting, is what advice would you give to other coaches who are looking to scale their impact?
I want to say don't overthink this because I think there's a whole fatigue, a mental, physical, emotional fatigue that coaches experience in the industry because we're trying to find that next offer, that next breakthrough insight and content. I mean, there's so much pressure that everybody's operating in. This all can be easy and simple by simply, again, trusting yourself, by simply listening to yourself. The answers are here. Your business is gonna grow. There's no two ways about it. And what would support your business the most is you not being in survival and a state of fatigue, is you being excited, lit up, and ready to have more. That is the key. So like being turned on about all that you're creating, and that allows you to fill yourself with fulfillment, and that is a fuel for any growth. So to not overthink, to really trust yourself, your intuition, I think is the key.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shakti. And thank you so much for coming into our podcast today. It was lovely to have you on the show. For people who want to connect with you and find you, they can go into LinkedIn, Shakti Sharma. They'll be able to find your profile there.
Yes.
Is there also I feel like there's a website.
Yeah, spiritualalignment.com.
Yep, spiritualalignment.com. We'll put that on the description. Is it also leadwithconsciousness.com?
That's my partner's, my husband's brand.
Okay.
My other brand is femininewealthcoach.com.
Okay. Femininewealthcoach.com?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, just want to make sure we get them all correctly so that we can put the right links in the description for our podcast. But yeah, it was lovely having you on the show. Thank you so much for all the exercises we did together, and thank you for helping us with our research too. Thank you, Shakti.
Thank you. I appreciate just your curiosity and all the amazing questions you asked. I loved having this conversation with you.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.